forgot my suede shoes. We still got some great blues for you. It's the show right here on Shaw TV, episode number 149, the 13th episode of our 7th season. My name is Matt Carter. Very glad to have you guys along for the ride. And our musical guests, well, last episode we had Dear Father. This episode we have a father and a son. Mike, aka Lazy Mike, and Carson Mallon. These two generations will be generating some blues for us throughout the hour. Also on today's show, we actually have more than blues. We have some heavy Nettles. And as plants, of course, start to spring up in the springtime, we're going to show you some different ways to safely prepare nettles. And as the Scooby-Doo villains like to say, we would have got away with it if it wasn't for you nettling kids. As part of our recurring Seniors Connect series, we're going to look into the new Nanaimo Seniors Task Force, which has a goal to make Nanaimo an age-friendly city. We're also proud to welcome back a guest who wants Nanaimo to be a mage-friendly city. Magician Craig McKee of Bespoke Shows. We attempt to bewitch the show once again with his brand of magic and mystery. In about half an hour, we're going to turn the tables on one of our wonderful hosts, Joanne Hogan. So instead of asking the questions, she's going to answer the questions on behalf of the Vancouver Island Crisis Society about the many ways that society can connect and communicate with people in need. Very important information for all of us to have. Now, I've got a question for everybody out there. What if you knew you only had a limited amount of orgasms left to experience in your lifetime? Now, it's pretty stressful, and life is pretty stressful enough, you know, not knowing whether we're coming or going. And, but, you know, this theme will be explored, this question will be explored in the context of disability and independence in a new novel that I'm sure will be solid from the opening pages to the thrilling climax. So stay tuned as we talk to the author, and jokes aside, a very poignant story to go along with the sexiness as well. So very looking forward to hearing about that. But first, we're going to look into history and the president of a service organization who you may recognize from participating in many of the parades out there. Might call them the Fez dispensers, but what is this group actually about? Well, grab a beverage because we're about to get our shrine on. It's the show right here on Shaw TV. Hello, me again, and as mentioned on the intro, time to get our shrine on now and find out more about these Shriners. Yes, they have more fun than any of us at the parades, of course, we all go to at communities across the country, but I know there's, of course, a lot more to the organization than that. So joining us to tell us more, very happy to welcome BC and Yukon Shriners potentate, Harold Wallace. Harold, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Matt. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I should probably ask you too off the top, potentate is the title. What does that refer to?
Well, the potentate would be the same as a CEO. We're president of an organization. When we come on the line, we call it, we have 5 years. So we start 3 years as directors, year as vice president, and then a year as president. So I'm in my 5th year, so.
Oh, right on.
And enjoyed it so far.
Excellent. Congrats on your service as well to that. Now we're going to roll some photos right now, just sort of showing some activities of the Shriners. And while that's rolling, tell our viewers what the Shriners organization is all about.
Yep. Well, in 1870, a couple of Masons in New York City started the organization as a fun side of the Masonic Order, I guess if you want to call it that. And in they wanted to come up with a cause, so they decided to opened a hospital in 1922 in Shreveport, Louisiana. Now we have 22 hospitals in North America, 1 in Mexico City, 1 in Montreal, and 20 throughout the States. Again, dealing with many burns, cleft lip and palate, so again, orthopedic surgery, and we have specialists all over the North America, so we're quite proud to have that. We provide the services to the families at no cost to them, no matter what their financial ability to pay. So we're very proud to do that. So we raise money for the hospital, and we raise money for transporting the kids to the hospital. So again, it's very, very overwhelming to be part of that organization, believe me.
Absolutely, and that was sort of my big sort of reveal to me exactly how much care was done for children and families through the Shrine organizations. And I know, again, for BC Yukon Shriners, helping kids and families get involved with Shriners hospitals, I think in Portland, Spokane, I do believe, yes. Montreal, you also mentioned. So for families looking for care, how do they contact the Shriners, or what are sort of the criteria that they need to have in order to talk to the Shriners about this care?
Well, basically, if you know of a child that has a disability of, you know, orthopedic or cleft lip and palate or a burn, they can call our 1-800 number to our Shrine Center in Burnaby. which is 1-800-661-5437, which then they can speak to our coordinator, Vinet, who will help them get in touch with one of our hospitals, so depending on what the issue is.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so that's families get involved. What about you yourself? Why did you choose to get involved with the Shriners organization?
Well, when you see kids, I guess it comes down to my wife and I never had kids, so it's one of these things that I can get involved with and kind of put that kid back in their life again. And my wife is alongside of me this year as well as president, so she's involved, liking it as well. So yeah, it's to see the child after surgery. They're our future. To see them repaired is what I call it. So it's great to see.
Very well said. It's got about a minute left here, and again, the Shriners have some very important events coming up here in Central Vancouver Island here starting in mid-May. Just tell us a little bit about those.
Well, basically, May long weekend, it's what we call the spring ceremonial. It's when we bring in our new candidates or new Shriners. So we have, over that weekend, we have a golf tournament on the Thursday, so open to the public. Friday will be opening ceremonies and other, which public are allowed to come and watch. And then on Saturday, we have a kids fair, which we're inviting all the kids to come to the Island Savings Center for hot dogs. We have bouncy castles, clowns, face painting. So it's an afternoon, 4 hours for kids from about 11 to 3:30 in the afternoon on the 19th.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Harold, for joining us today, and again, giving us more breadth of the organization, what the Shriners are about, as you said, helping kids, supporting kids, a lot more than just parade, but a lot of fun brotherhood philanthropy. Thank you again to you and all the group that you do.
Well, thank you to Shaw and to our sponsors, Tim Hortons and Island Savings Center. So we do appreciate your support as well, so thank you.
Perfect. All right, thank you again, Harold. All right, from that now, it is time to shake, nettle, and roll, and our first look into harvesting and cooking nettles here on the show on Shaw TV. Cathy, over to you.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks, Harold, so much. And thank you to the Shriners for all the fantastic work that you do. From the time my son was a little bitty boy, we used to go to the parades and watch them with such joy and looked forward to them every year. But the reason why we went is because we knew that we were supporting the other children that needed to have some support from this amazing group. So get out there and support them if you can. Now we're going to do something really interesting with these beautiful babies, and I mean these women, of course. The women are Mandolyn Jonasson and Catherine Kitchen, which are two, it's like
Mandolyn Kitchen.
Mandolyn Kitchen. And these things, which I started my day with putting to my nose.
I know.
And there are no polka dots, but I present you with the bouquet of
thank
Nettles.
you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, I wrapped them in this way, this really, really beautiful bouquet way, largely because I wanted to demonstrate them in their awesome glory, but also because I wanted to protect you and everyone here from touching nettles. So I wanted to talk really quickly about these gorgeous nettles that we brought here. And I also brought a really important thing, and that are...
Can't go anywhere without your gloves.
No glove, no love.
No gloves, no love. And they look like a bouquet.
Yeah.
But they have a message.
They have a strong message, a strong, delicious message of awesome. So nettles are pretty, a lot of people know what nettles are these days. People are pretty comfortable. They see a lot of nettle posts and, nettles are in season. But after you've gone through, finding the nettles, which you can find lots of groups on Facebook, maybe,
Yeah.
So after you go through finding the group on Facebook and, finding your patch of nettles that is not, I'm going to need those, that is not clear to any, roadways or anything like that. You've got these beautiful little stack of nettles. And you're like, what am I gonna do? So the first thing you're gonna do is grab some gloves. You're not even gonna do anything else before you grab your super fancy dancy, highly fashionable gloves.
And they are very, very
And I
pretty.
travel with gloves and a pair of scissors. And this you could use just a piece of newspaper or a magazine in your car. You're gonna go out, you're gonna chop your nettles. So I'm not gonna talk too much about how to identify them, but you're gonna keep them nice, you're not gonna touch them. You're gonna keep them nice and wrapped up because the whole thing can poke you, from here to there. So, people make nettle tea. They dehydrate them pretty easy. A quick little 1-2 second in the microwave is gonna take away that sting. A blanch is gonna take away that sting. There's lots of different ways to do it, which kind of opens up the way of lots of different ways that we can cook this amazing, edible, traditional medicinal plant.
So what we need to know is that there are 3 ways that we are going to prepare.
There are more than 3 ways.
But today we're going to talk about 3. But before we do that, we have to listen to a tune, because there's this incredible band that we got over there, and he calls himself Lazy Mike. I don't know anything lazy about him, but nonetheless, let's shoot it on over to Lazy Mike.
thank you to Lazy Mike and Mallon Carson, or Carson Mallon? Carson Mallon, sorry about that. And their ode to monogamous love. And here I am. I'm delighted to present Kim Clark, who is going to be reading or telling us about her novel, a one-handed novel, which is right here with the wonderful subtitle, A Story of Wicked Delight. And what I've been given here is that it's a fictional story about Melanie's multiple sclerosis prognosis. It seems, based on a new study, that she only has 6 orgasms left. Funny, honest, and hopeful, this novel offers a fresh take on independence and disability, ambition, and love. I can tell you that I'm very interested in finding out more about a book that's described in that way. Can you tell me about what has it been like for you to write this book?
I will tell you, but I want to thank you for having me. It's great,
you're most
and
welcome.
my book is very happy to be here. And I always like to try and bring disability out of the closet a bit. And through the book, I throw it into bed with sex, lack of money, love, all of the interesting things, because disability is not quite in the mainstream yet, but here's a nudge to bring it.
To bring it to the forefront more, yeah. And we were talking before the show about the fact that there always has been a concern on your part that a lot of people write about disability when they themselves are not a person dealing with disability. Can you tell us more about what that has been involving for you?
Well, this book is part of, it sort of allows me to be part of the movement to do that. So I'm a disabled writer. I have MS, and so instead of an able-bodied writer writing about a disabled person, not as a main character, but as a sidekick or a prop, it really gave me a chance to do it and try and do it right. And to make it funny in the process, and sexy, because who doesn't like sex? Or reading about it, or talking about it.
Exactly. So with this book coming out, like, what is your, are you promoting it around? Is it available in a lot of places? What's happening with the movement of this book into our communities?
It is around, for sure. It's, I believe it's here at Chapters in Nanaimo.
Okay.
I know it's on Amazon. It's at the library. I'll be touring a little bit in BC.
Oh, wonderful.
I've been to Vancouver. I'll be over in Sechelt the beginning of May to do a launch there, with a co-launch with another writing buddy. And I hope to do more of that over the next year. I've also got a play based on part of the book that I'm hoping to get going.
Right.
So I have a lot of projects.
And this is your first novel?
This is my first novel.
Yes?
Well, I hope so. I'm working on a sequel now to these characters. This one starts with one main character who has MS. I've shared some of my life through the fictional parts of the book. But the sequel will have 4 characters with different disabilities, trying to live together.
Okay, okay. And you've already been a poet, you were saying, a published poet?
I've had poetry published and short fiction published.
Okay, okay. So this sounds like it's an exciting first book in a series.
I'm very excited about it. I really want to share it.
Yes, and it's available online at Amazon.ca as well. And
Amazon.ca is the best.
Aside from the brick and mortar stores, it's available.
And I mean, I'm all for independent bookstores. But you know, if you can't make it to your independent bookstore, then definitely go to Amazon. And
okay. Well, I'm sure that many of us are looking forward to reading this book with such a loaded title and subtitle there. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, Kim, and I wish you the best of success with this book and the subsequent ones in this, what I hope will be a nice long series of books for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Here's the book, yes.
Yes, congratulations on this. And now I'm going to throw it over to Jane, who's the Seniors Connect interviewer this evening.
Thank you so much, Kim and Joanne. I'm really excited to have that hot suggestion for my reading list on my bedside table. On to a little more serious things. Today on the Seniors Connect segment, the project that focuses on reducing social isolation of older adults in Nanaimo. We will be talking about a brand new committee, and I'm delighted to have as my guest today Geraldine Collins from the Nanaimo Seniors Task Force. Welcome, Geraldine.
Thank you, Jade.
So tell me, what is a Nanaimo Seniors Task Force?
Well, the committee is a part of a much bigger the Seniors Connect. What we are is kind of like the think tank. What we want to do is produce a legacy where the project may stop next year. We want this to continue on. We want this to go, because seniors will continue to age for the next forever. We want Nanaimo to have an ongoing project where the seniors can be participating and they can get help and support when they need it, and that they can engage in meaningful volunteer activities within the community.
Okay, so to be on the Seniors Task Force, do you have to be a senior?
Well, our line in the sand is 55. That being said, of course we need the younger people because we're a multi-age society, and in order for this to go on, we need the young people to come up and take it forward and learn from the people who we have now so that we can make a future for this committee.
Okay, so can you tell me a little about why is volunteering important to older adults?
Well, as you get older, you tend to stay home a lot. You may lose your driver's license or just become, your friends die, and you need a reason to get out into the world. And so seniors need meaningful volunteer work to keep them engaged in the community and make them feel a part and healthy in the community that we live in.
So you obviously have an important goal. You've listed that you want to make Nanaimo an age-friendly city. So how will the Nanaimo Seniors Task Force support that objective?
We want to help the city, who is putting together the plan, which comes from the World Health Organization. There are 8, and Nanaimo being very forward-thinking, they have added one, so there are 9 different criteria that have to be met in order for the city to be age-friendly. Transportation, housing, seniors respect, and there are so much more. And so we want to engaged all the various committees out there that are already working, plus anybody else in our own committee, to put together a plan for Nanaimo to become age-friendly.
Okay, and so this project, the Seniors Connect project, is about collective impact. So how will the Nanaimo Seniors Task Force support that particular goal?
Well, we want to get this message out to the community. We know that there are a lot of people out there with great talents that can bring things into the project. We want the community to express its support for this project. We want to feel empowered, and we want our seniors to feel empowered about moving forward on being age-friendly. And we also want the public to take action and do what they can to make this project work.
Okay, so great segue into wrapping things up for me, Geraldine. How do people get involved?
There are many different focus groups and committees out there. I suggest you find your passion and where is it that you can do for us, because we'd love to have you come out and help us. And you can get involved by going to the Seniors Connect building on Wallace Street. There, it's open 5 days a week, and just drop in and tell us how you can help us.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very, very much, Geraldine. I'm really excited to hear all about the new Nanaimo Seniors Task Force, but I'm even more excited to find out how Cathy and Mandolyn are going to now prepare those very delicious looking stinging nettles. So I'm throwing things over to you, Cathy.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks, Geraldine. You know, Seniors Connect is probably one of the most important projects that we have going on in Nanaimo right now. And if you want to volunteer, it's really important that you take the time to get in touch with us and look up opportunities for you to get involved in our community. So thanks again. And Mandolyn and Catherine and I are not actually going to be preparing at the moment, but what we are going to be doing is talking about the tasty ingredients, how to prepare it, and we're going to go from there. So, Catherine, namesake, babe, tell us more. Tell us more about how this all works. Because I see some pretty seeds here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's this?
One thing that Mandolyn had mentioned is when you are trying to get the sting out of the nettles, you're going to do either a quick blanch or just do a shock of heat, and that will settle it down.
So let's remind people that a blanch means dipping the nettles into
boiling water and then shocking it with cold water.
Ice cold water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bam.
Absolutely.
I need to do that with my nose now. But anyway.
You will, absolutely. But what I find very interesting is this holistic plant packs a punch. It has so many medicinal properties to it, and it's like literally taking the biggest amount of kale and putting it into only a few leaves.
Wow.
So at Island Soda Works Bistro, we like to take all of the holistic ingredients and use them into traditional cooking. So what you see here is we just modified a traditional pesto. And instead of using the pine nuts and the basil and all of that sort of things, we omitted that and we make a beautiful vegan pesto using our nettles.
Okay.
These are toasted pumpkin seeds. And then this is nutritional yeast. So we would use that in lieu of having a cheese flavor to the Parmesan.
If you haven't actually tasted the yeast, it does taste an awful
super
lot.
cheesy.
It's really...
The other cool thing about nettles and the alums is they're actually anti-inflammatory. So they help with allergies and rheumatoid arthritis, which is amazing. And so for this pesto, we actually made it garlic-free, which is an alum-free, because alums are often inflammatory in this time of season. So we really at Soda Works Bistro are working holistically with all those parts.
So this is simply blanched, and now we've got some other ingredients on here as well. But this would be for the pesto, would it? And then now this is for something even more yummy.
This here is we have our mirin, gluten-free tamari, organic sugar, and then we have toasted sesame seeds.
And the blanched nettles. So it's our version of a gourmet, right? Which is a comfort spinach comfort food that you've eaten in lots of Japanese restaurants. But here
we twist everything. We want to make it so that healthy food tastes good.
Well, we're going to make it healthy, we're going to make it good, and in our next segment, we're going to have a little bit of a look to see how we did this.
It's all talk and no action.
Like magically. Meanwhile, I know that Matt has got something to say to Lazy Mike and Carson, Mallon, and you guys know I always get names wrong.
That's all right, Christine. Thank you so much for the throw there. Thank you, Clarissa, Mandolyn, and Catherine. We'll see them back, putting the pedal to the nettle one more time in about 15 minutes' time. But time right now to meet our musicians, a family gathering, a father-son duo, Mike Mallon, a.k.a. Lazy Mike, and his son, Carson Mallon. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much, Matt.
We're stoked to have you guys here. Mike, I want to start with you with some questions. Obviously, there's a great tradition of nicknames in blues, and talk about your nickname. I've seen your name as a part of a whole bunch of bands, Lazy Mike and the Rockin' Recliners, Lazy Mike Mallon Band, Lazy Mike Trio. So to me, it kind of sounds like you have a lot of ambition. So what are you actually lazy?
Yeah, I'm not lazy at all, really. Just, I always say that the name Lazy Lester was already taken, so that's so I took Lazy Mike. That works for me.
Lazy 2.0. Is there anyone in your family with the nickname Honeydew? Honeydew Mallon? March Mallon? No?
Walter Mallon?
Walter Mallon, yeah. I'd be shaking my head as well. Let's get back from the names to the actual music. So why the blues? How did that become your go-to music?
Well, I found out that a lot of the music that I was listening to as a teenager was blues anyway, and then in the late 70s I heard Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee, which is totally going back to just the acoustic guitar and harmonica and Piedmont blues. And from there I kind of found out about Muddy Waters and all the Chicago guys, and then it just kind of went from there. I think that the old music is still, it's good music, right? It's just good roots music. So
that's right, because again, we're sort of in a time where people are really embracing technology, modernity, but you're seeing in your audiences that they're still loving this form of music that has roots now over 100 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, and the blues it was brought about by field hands. They'd party at night and they'd have a guy on a guitar and a guy on a harmonica or whatever they had, a kazoo or whatever, and they played for parties and dancing. So that's always been sort of my thing is you know, I want people to have a good time, and if you feel like dancing, by all means, dance, you know. So
it's not just the live shows, recordings as well. I read you have a new CD in the works, the
Yes,
Low
we do.
Speed Sessions. Tell us a bit about that.
The Low Speed Sessions. We recorded at a good friend of ours, Sean Kilback, who lives in Duncan. He's the guitar player from the Renovation Blues Band, and he invited us over to do some recording. So we went over there. He calls his studio is called Low Speed Studio. So we went there, and yeah, it was really nice. We just did live off the floor, and it just went to manufacture at the beginning of the week here, and so we should be seeing it in the next month or so. We'll have it back from them, and then we're starting the CD release thing.
Perfect. All right, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I do want to get Carson on the mic here really quick, a couple questions. So Carson, of course, being the family connection, do you enjoy performing music with your dad because he's your dad or because he pays really, really well?
Yeah, he pays really, really well. Yeah.
As is common in the blues genre.
I still have a full-time job, and I'm doing this too. You know? No, I mean, it's a really good opportunity for us to spend some time together and kind of bond over something that we both really love. You know, we both have such a deep appreciation for this music and this art form, and yeah, so it's been good for that, definitely.
If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you guys first started playing together?
16. I was 16, 17, and we just kind of, I mean, he'd always been talking about putting together a blues band, and you know, he was part of some other projects before, and I was fortunate enough to kind of get in on the ground floor of that, get his first blues band together, and now 12 years later, it's still happening. Nice. So
what have you learned from your dad about playing music?
Professionality, definitely. Like, be professional. Don't, you know, argue about the pay. Show up on time, and if you're playing to an empty room, give those tables and chairs the best show that you can.
Nice. I like that line. And Mike, I'll get you back on the mic. Exact same question. What has Carson taught you about music?
Well, you know what? Like I said, the whole blues thing evolved. So I found that the blues eventually, as I was playing it without Carson, was getting more and more sort of like rock and roll. So, you know, Carson sort of brought me back down to earth and back to the real, you know, the rootsy blues stuff that we so much love, sort of thing. So, yeah, he's given me that, a lot of depth and you know, a real appreciation for the old stripped down stuff, eh? And it's way harder to play stripped down stuff than it is to play with a whole band, eh? You know,
more
so
transparent.
Yeah, totally, man. It's just very honest, right? Perfect. So,
well, I want for folks to be able to hear you playing. So I want to talk about your CD release parties in a bit. Do want to give a shout out to Lazy Mike Trio. You have a regular blues section at Dee's Bar and Grill in Qualicum Beach the first Thursday of each month. Good menu as well, I've heard. Gotta love Dee's Burgers, Dee's Nachos, Dee's Nuts. So also tell us about these CD release parties coming up as well.
Well, we got 3 of them scheduled right now. We've got one on June 15th at Shar's Landing in Port Alberni, and we've got one on June 30th at the Queen's here in Nanaimo. And then we are fortunate to be once again part of the Chemainus Blues Festival, and they have agreed to let us use that as our blues, our CD release there too, sort of thing. So yeah,
right, congrats on the new CD again. Congrats on keeping doing the music together.
Thank you.
Let's guys get ready for the next song again. Lazy Mike and Carson Mallon here on the show on Shaw TV, and the song coming up right now is a track called "Sweet Tooth." Again for you on the show. Cheers.
Thank you, Matt. Okay. I got a sweet tooth, you're the sugar for me. I got a sweet tooth, you're the sugar for me. Well, I got it so bad, you got just what I need. Well, I got that craving on my mind, both day and night. You got the sugar that makes me feel right. I got a sweet tooth, you got got the sugar for me. Well, I got it so bad now. You got just what I need. Well, I don't need no reefer with whiskey or wine. Just a little sweet love will do me just fine. I got a sweet tooth. You got the sugar for me. Well, I got it so bad now. You got just what I need. Yeah, that's right.
Well, those are the awesome sounds of Mike and Carson Mallon. They just sounded wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. I'm KerilieMcDowall. You know, I've done a lot of volunteering work, and I was curious about the crisis line. I volunteered on a crisis line for many years, and so I wanted to know what was happening in Nanaimo. Well, I was really amazed to learn that one of our Shaw volunteers actually works at the Vancouver Island Crisis Society that handles the crisis line and other services. So Joanne Hogan is here joining us today. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk about the Crisis Society and the services, most importantly, the services that it offers. I've been working there for a number of years now, and working at the Vancouver Island Crisis Society, I like to refer to it as a labor of love. And what it's most known for is the Vancouver Island Crisis Line, which is at 1-888-494-3888. We always say this like an automaton. We always want to make it heard, the crisis line number, so that people who are in need of support get to know that it is available to them in the community. So what the crisis line offers is a short-term emotional support. The volunteers are trained in assessing what is happening in the person's life that has led them to a situation of crisis. They're also trained to support and assess someone who's expressing suicidal thoughts. And also to liaise. What's unique about the Vancouver Island Crisis Line is that we are affiliated with mental health and substance use crisis nurses throughout, for communities throughout Vancouver Island, so that we can help the person find support from a medical professional in the short term while, say, they're waiting for their next psychiatrist's appointment or their next hospital visit, and that, so that we serve as a liaison with the public access to these mental health support services throughout the island. So I think that's a wonderful idea, because people who are, whether they're dealing with mental health issues in the long term or in the short term, know that this is an additional service they can find at the crisis line.
Yeah, and it's such an essential service, helping so many people. Really great that it's here. How can people access it? Chat, phone, and website, I understand? Or
yes.
Email?
So the voice at the crisis line is available 24/7, and currently the crisis chat and the crisis text, because some people feel more comfortable using those kind of media to approach a situation where they can get some support. That's available from 6 to 10 p.m. every night. Okay. So crisis chat is vicrisis.ca. The access to crisis chat is from the homepage of our website. Okay. And crisis text, now I just want to make sure I say it right, it's 25...
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen. So okay, because I don't have my notes with me.
Yeah.
But crisis text is also available. People can use their phones to find the support they need. We've also found that in rural areas of the Vancouver Island, quite often the phone is the only way that they can access support of that kind.
We have to start wrapping up soon, but I just wanted to ask you quickly, very quickly, about the organizations that you help in the community. Schools, you're in the schools, I understand. You've also got the database. There's a lot to be offered. Just quickly sum it up.
Yes. Okay, so we have an amazing school program. There's a gateway program called GRASP. That's an acronym that you can look up on the website. And there's also a 80-minute program that we teach, both those programs from elementary to high school. It's called Speak Out, Reach Out, Help Out, just to increase awareness of self and others around you. And we have a number of community programs that address how to deal with crisis intervention and how to deal with people around you who may be expressing suicidal ideation. So it's wonderful programs for everyone in the community who wants to reach out and get them.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today on the show, Joanne. It's been absolutely wonderful getting to chat with you. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you about in the community at the Vancouver Island Crisis Society and helping those in need. Thanks so much for being there for folks.
Thank you. As you know, I could go on forever, so the website
says it all. Thanks so much for being there for folks. And I'm going to pass it along next to Mr. Magic, Craig McKee next.
Well, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for spending a few minutes with me at the card table. I'm Craig McKee of Bespoke Shows, and I actually get to share my table today with two very amazing people, the first of which is Kelly. Kelly has been a long-term person here. Yeah, perfect.
Right here, okay.
The reason why she's getting an amazing round of applause is simply because this is her last day here after many, many shows keeping us on track and on time. So we thank you very much for that.
Thank you. It's hard to say goodbye. I'm gonna miss this.
The easy solution is just don't.
Just don't.
Stay, easy.
Or just come back for the show all the time.
Well, there we go. I can swing with that.
Yeah, I can.
Now, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't also include the ineffable Matt Carter.
I got applause too.
There we go. Woo! That's because you didn't say a bad joke for once. Anyways. Now, both of you know that I get to spend a lot of my time right now performing for corporate events, in-home cocktail parties, places like that. I'm very fortunate to be able to say that I did not start there. I started cutting my teeth on the streets of Vancouver, actually. Places like Robson Street, Granville Island, places like that, which affords a great learning opportunity. Those sorts of places, you get a very eclectic and diverse audience mix. What I would like to do today is just show you what one of those interactions on the streets may look like and what goes on the streets when you're a performer like this out there having fun. Now, Kelly, I am going to get you to start off, of course, by taking out any card you'd like.
Just anyone?
Yeah, just go ahead, grab one, pull it out.
There
beautiful. For what we're doing today, it's totally okay if I happen to see what it is, so please turn it over. Excellent, and I'm going to get you to write just a little doodle on there, anything you'd like.
Draw some clubs or spades instead.
I went for a heart.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Consistent.
Now, we're going to buzz through this. What I've got here is, if you were to hire me today to perform for you, I would do this quick little routine where a card goes in the middle, and then I just kind of manage to magically retain that card. Now, Now, this routine didn't always start out that way. In fact, on the street, I performed a very different version. When the card went in, instead of in the middle, it would go in the bottom quarter. That way, when I shuffled, it would end up in the middle. However, Kelly, there was this one time where I was performing this. I was about to shuffle. I welcomed someone in. I turned my back, and there was this fella, you wouldn't believe it, to my immediate left. He was wearing a green checkered shirt, and while I looked away, he took the half of the pack closest to him and flipped it face up on me. Now, I was welcoming other people in, and I wasn't observing this at all. So unfortunately, I wound up shuffling that together.
I showed him, eh? All right.
Exactly. Yay, thank you very much.
I'm that guy from downtown Vancouver. All right,
exactly. It left the deck in a bit of a perilous position with cards that were face up, cards that were face down, cards that were basically a mess of a deck. Everything back-to-back cards, face-to-face. I decided very simply that only one solution would do, which would be a wave, a snap, and a tap. And just like that, by pure magic, I would get myself out of that prickly situation and fire that sign card directly to the bottom of the pack to everyone's adulation. Well, it didn't work then either. So in getting stung, I did learn this one little thing, and hopefully I'll get you to watch very carefully as you get to observe the magic happen right about here. And that was the way I found to get myself out of the situation of being stung.
Wow.
Now that's how I get out of prickly situations. That's how I avoid being stung. However, Cathy and her guests have a much more flavorful solution to that at our demo counter.
I just have to say, a lay, a snap, and a tap, man, and it's just magic. Like, what's up with that? I'm beginning to love this part of the show more and more all the time. Craig, thank you so much. You're just mesmerizing. Fantastic, fantastic. But more mesmerizing is our palette. What did you say?
I thought palette feels mesmerizing.
Palette is where we go. So
Snap, clap, tap, palette.
well, clap, tap, palette.
Yeah, palette.
Palette.
I get it.
Okay. So these are two.
These are two, you know how we had those ingredients?
We did.
Well, with the magic of television, we were able to transform without any sort of kitchen utensils those raw ingredients, those super nutritious raw ingredients, into these gorgeous dishes you see before you. So one of them is that pesto that Catherine was talking about. Here it is, the garlic-free, super cheesy, super gorgeous. You can't taste it on, you know, through your television, but you can imagine as I salivate thinking about tasting it for you. And then this one is the gourmet. So super gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it turned out so pretty, you know, and so there's beautiful toasted sesame seeds. You just have to blanch it really quickly. But you know what? You don't only have to do savory, healthy side dishes, as Catherine is so easily explaining.
Whoa,
Catherine?
Whoa.
So at Sodaworks Bistro this morning, I made a nettle and lemon gluten-free cake. And the frosting that I used is we make our own cheese in-house. It's organic.
It starts with Tree Island Gourmet yogurt as a base. So it's like super healthy, super, like this frosting you could have for breakfast and be a part of a plan.
Oh, so, and you know what? I have to tell you this. I just come back from Mexico where all I did was eat and drink and eat and drink and drink. I now need something nurturing to help with all of the things that I learned while I was there. So these ingredients help with so many things, even the sweet stew.
We don't want you to take away from eating and drinking. I love eating and drinking.
Yes.
Eating and drinking is really fun. Let's not stop eating and drinking. Let's eat really healthy, gorgeous, and delicious.
Well, this is really healthy and gorgeous, and it's
local.
and it's local, and the decorations are spring.
And edible,
the beginning of spring, they're all edible.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the frosting, you were saying something about the whipping process earlier. Do you remember what we were talking about in that?
So what I was saying is I find that cake itself is sweet enough. And so I don't like to weigh it down with a lot of processed sugar and sweetness because it takes away from the flavors that you're really wanting to experience. So with this, I did use organic sugar, but I made it into more of a simple syrup because then it was easier and it gives it a nice creamy texture.
So you know that I know you might not know this because, but we have our own guy.
We're
And
here.
And it's just, you know, dude, can I tell you something? I have to tell you something. You and I have been working together now for a few years, and you come over and you snack away.
I do, it's true.
And then you give me a hard time about the names that I make the mistakes on. And I really think that there's something that you need to know.
Oh yeah, what's that?
You have a language, babe.
I have a language.
You have Matanese. It is a language of its very own, and it comes up when you least expect it, and I think the audience should note.
This is when I least expect it.
And I think we need to roll the tape.
Was that even a word, or was it some kind of sneeze? Actually, it was Matanese.
Matanese, word number 1, R-star.
Our musical guest right in behind me right now, vocalist, multi-instrumentalist, and all-around Gabriel R-star, Tina Jones.
R-star, a short form for arithmetic star, one who possesses outstanding math abilities. Matanese, word number 2, Seppos, number 110.
Hello, my name is Matt Carter. Welcome to episode number 110 of the show right here on Shaw TV.
Seppos number 110, the Seppos that follows Seppos number 109 and precedes Seppos number 111. Matanese, word number 3, healthcare providers.
The Vancouver Island Health Authority is on board with an award-winning telehealth program that allows patients and healthcare providers to sort of communicate and share monitoring data.
Healthcare providers, people or organizations who provide healthy green produce to hungry people and bunny rabbits. Matanese, word number 4, Relic Reclia.
So I'll drop you off there and move on back to some music, but again, to find out more about the Relic Reclia and you guys, thehermitsmusic.com.
Relic Reclia, a slightly improved and fancier version of the regular Reclia that we are all familiar with.
Gratiating and hunger satiating extravaganza.
Cannot compute.
All right, so I'm going to try to endear now, well, you've already endeared yourself to our director now, but first I want to say now,
apologies, I cannot compute.
Amazing Stretchers, really great to highlight artists here on the show on Shaw TV. Right now, February is Heart Month. Hopefully your heart is still ticking there. I keep this on my fridge usually. I had to bring it in for the show here. So some great barbecue, actually just right down the road from us here at Shaw TV. Perfect. All right, well, I'm going to let folks know where they can watch before. I know you have your show coming up November 9th, our Beers Distillery. I'm going to ask you in a moment here just about some of the things that can be freshened up. Volunteers and staff in front of the scenes. That pierogi is really good. That's a first, finally a first. While she no doubt is preparing to take the international and intergalactic titles next. The episode. Season 6, episode number 130 or something like that. Well, you can find previous episodes of the show also on YouTube. We're all singers, right? No, I guess I should say, so for me, I'm asking the question, what is more important? But thank you very much, Brian. Thanks as well, Jane and John, for really being here and looking inside of ourselves for spiritual richness. Now, forget streaming on the internet for coming on the show is how exactly things do that. Again, just obvious. I mean, so I learned too about, all these different styles together. Also, lots of shows.
Thanks for having us.
Exactly, to be here. I want to get into that for a sec. I want to say back in 2013, we went to from Walla Sound down to ukulele playing, and again, sauces South. Also, at Seadrift Market is part of it. Find out why next as we give you the gears and put the pedals to the pavement. I'll let you guys get ready going to gingerbread, and I give a big shout out to Island Soda Works Bistro as well. Thank you so much again for coming down here and all your work and again do the work. And yeah, Lewis, thank you for watching together. So what is this? You haven't been there? It's talking for you on air today as well over there watching the late cheer anyway. So so great. It's a great series of show back and forth with the good grand finale starting, getting ready about 2:30. We're rushing to give you a discussion on percussion without much of a concussion. We're marching to a beat of a different drummer, and it's the show on Shaw TV.
Yahoo! So, dude, I just want you to know the next time that you come back, all of us here will conspire towards ensuring.
I have a new shirt.
That you
I think I own like 4 shirts based on that whole segment there.
It must be. It's a plaid requirement. It's what we do.
Yep.
You're replaceable.
And by the way, special shout out to Fiona and to Kelly and to the whole team that put that together on your behalf, because
that was pretty wild.
We do know your language, and it's a language we love.
Thank you. Thank you much. Thank you, everybody. Oh, great stuff.
And he gives me a broken arm.
I broke his arm.
He hurts
broke her
me
elbow,
too.
Broke her elbow. Exactly. So are we still talking about Nettles?
So now, do you want the cake?
Do you want some cake? Well, it goes with your shirt.
Let the meat cake. Yeah.
Plaid. You like plaid?
This is for plaids.
Straight to the cake, right?
Straight to
the icing.
Oh. Yeah, exactly.
That's to celebrate the matinees.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sounds good.
I wish I'd done it.
Golden.
Oh, so close,
I know,
but so far.
close.
So close. Like that, exactly.
We almost did, but we're nice.
Yeah, I need to read my notes here at the end. So
okay,
awesome.
You can hide all the stains with your plaid shirt, though.
That's also true, actually. Yeah, it fits it very nicely.
And the clipboard.
Yeah. Exactly, awesome. Mandolyn, Catherine, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, and obviously with letting us hijack the segment there with this awesome, awesome food. Cathy, thank you once again for rounding up there. All right, nettle me this. All right, it's time to change things up here again to get to the end of the program. Now, Craig sort of hinted at, you may have read in the news lately, there have been some changes in the workforce for Shaw and Shaw TV, this here company. And while we don't know exactly all what it's going to look like quite yet, there are some Shaw TV Nanaimo staff moving on from this venture. And of course, it's sort of on their own volition as well. But some of them have had a very considerable impact on this program. And so I'd like to recognize them. Before those do, and also give a shout out to great storytellers extraordinaire, Rayanne LaPlante, Annette Lucas, and Master Controller Stephen Quartz as well. But again, on behalf of all the volunteers and the remaining staff members, do want to let you talk about three folks here. We'll be shedding no tears for the Swiss Family Robinson, her kids in the hall. We're talking about the show here. And first up, the horsepower behind the show for a long, long time has been volunteer coordinator Melissa Hall. Quick on the draw, always ready for a laugh. And in fact, she's probably the only one actually appreciates and tries to use puns as much as I do. She's also known for having been stepped on by a horse during a Shaw TV shoot. And so here we have, she is facing her fears, moving on to get into equestrian. She's going to pony up to horse jumping now. Look at that smile on there, absolutely earnest. That is great stuff. She's been trying to show us who the boss is for a long time, and now she's going to try to boss some horses around. I think she's still going to be hunting for a stallion at the same time, too. Anyways, with a smile like that, you can't lose. Thank you very much, Melissa. What you gave to this program was beyond substantial. Thank you. Secondly, let's mention a current show producer and longtime videographer and revered host of the Best Friends Pet Show, Holly Robinson. Kelly Robinson. I always get that wrong. Kelly Robinson, who that is. Kelly truly is, she's going to hate me now, but she truly is the kindest person any of us have ever met. And you might think, actually, as someone who loves animals as much as she does, as kind as she does, she might get involved in horses or show jumping. But no, when you are nice all of the time, you build up a lot of aggression over the years. And so now, finally free from Shaw TV, she can finally harness it and live her dreams. So Dax, there you go. She is joining a heavy metal band, along with, it looks like, some of her best friends from Cedar, I think, there as part of the roster. And yeah, I think probably lead guitar is what she'd be doing over there. So we look forward to seeing what crunchy riffs and killer shredding she unleashes on the music scene, as you see there, as much as the great stuff she's given us here at Shaw TV and local viewers. So many great stories, so much support all over the years. So thank you so much, Kelly Robinson. Again, you truly, truly are amazing. Nice. And finally now, and third up, our director, who really is a creative genius. And I don't use that phrase like someone who can really put anyone at ease. She's a burgeoning hip-hop star, probably the biggest booster of esoteric Baltic Republics I know, Fiona Shedden. And while she hasn't been with Shaw TV necessarily as long as Melissa and Kelly, her profound impact has been undeniable. In addition to herding all the cats here on Shaw TV, she's produced, honestly, some of the most inspirational television segments the station has ever broadcast. So I find it's weird then that she has already tried to take on a job as professional game show contestant. See, and there we have her doing her best. And Margaret, Sarah doing pretty well. I like how Fiona has that what me worry so of attitude with only $5 going into Double Jeopardy. But again, that just sort of shows off the attitude she has. And also, you know, if she's not going to be doing it well in game shows, I think she's going to be focusing now on getting to the Beijing Winter Olympics. Ladies and gentlemen, the first dreadlock contestant to ever land a triple axel. You'll see her in Beijing. Canada, always behind you, that's for sure, as well as we'll always be here behind you at Shaw TV, no matter whatever you do, thanks to your talents and generosity. So on the ice or off the ice, thank you so much, Fiona, for what you've all brought to all of us here. Absolutely amazing inspiration. So. I'm going to say, Dax, you can roll those end graphics there now. During the staff transition, we'll be taking a short break from the show. We look forward to be back and serving up Vancouver Island stories here again later on this spring. So again, a huge thank you from all of us, the volunteers, and all the great work the staff have done with us here. So let's leave you now with one more song and a paper ball thrown on my head. One more song from Lazy Mike and Carson Mallon. Two things to say. We love you. Thank you so much for watching the show right here on Shaw TV.
things, baby, well, that I like about you. There's only two things, baby, well, that I like about you. Well, that's everything you say now, and everything that you do. Now, when you call my name, it's like I hear the angels sing. Yeah, when you call my name now, it's like I hear the angels sing. Well, I know I'm in heaven when I see you shake that thing. Well, honey, you look fine when you're walking away. Little girl like you gonna change my way. There's only two things, baby, well, that I like about you. Yeah, that's everything you say now, and everything that you do. Honey, you look fine when you're walking away. Little girl like you gonna change my way. There's only two things, baby, well, that I like about you. Yeah, that's everything you say now, and everything that you do. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.